A retired cop hears a child's cry inside a burning warehouse. But what he finds leads to a deadly countdown, a buried secret, and a betrayal that goes deeper than anyone imagined. And when his loyal dog risks everything, the real twist is still waiting. Stay with this story, because the final seconds will leave you breathless. The rain fell in heavy sheets, drenching the cracked pavement. Thunder rolled low in the distance, like a growl from the earth itself. Sergeant Ronnachai stood still, eyes locked on the old warehouse ahead. His breath fogged in the cold night air. Beside him, his retired K-9 partner, Lert, let out a low whine. The years had not been kind to either of them. Ronnachai's back ached with every movement. Lert limped from an old bullet wound. But tonight, neither of them hesitated. He gripped the rusted pistol tighter, its cold metal biting into his palm. One last call had brought them here. A girl had been taken. No backup. No time. The warehouse loomed like a sleeping beast. Its windows shattered, walls scarred with age. Ronnachai could smell the oil, the damp, and something else. Blood. He crouched low. Lert followed, ears alert, body tense. They moved through the broken door, silently. Inside, shadows danced on the flickering light of a dying bulb. The smell hit harder now, sharp, metallic. A whisper of a sob echoed from the far corner. He signaled Lert forward. The dog crept ahead, nose twitching, muscles coiled. A creak, then a scream. Gunfire erupted. Too close. Ronnachai dove behind a pillar. Lert darted toward the scream, without hesitation. "Lert!" he shouted, but it was too late. The sound of a body hitting the floor. A yelp, then silence. Heart pounding, Ronnachai pushed forward. The girl was tied to a chair, eyes wide with terror. Behind her, a figure in black raised a knife. He fired once. The figure collapsed. The girl sobbed uncontrollably. But Ronnachai's eyes searched for only one thing. "Lert," he whispered, and then he saw him, lying still, blood spreading across the concrete, muzzle twitching, breathing shallow. Ronnachai dropped beside him, the gun slipping from his hand. He placed a trembling hand on the dog's side. "Stay with me, partner." Lert's eyes flickered open. Just once. Just enough. A small wag of the tail. A silent goodbye. Ronnachai's throat tightened. The rain outside grew louder. Or maybe that was the sound of his heart breaking. He held Lert close and whispered the words he had never said. "You saved me. Every single time." The girl's sobs echoed behind him, fragile and shaking. But Ronnachai could not move. His world had narrowed to the still body in his arms. Lert's fur was matted with blood, warm and sticky. His chest barely rose now. Each breath a struggle, a whisper. Ronnachai wiped the dog's face with his sleeve. Careful, gentle. "Stay," he murmured again, though he knew it was a lie. The silence was thick. Too thick. The kind that crawls under the skin. Then, a footstep. Not his. Not Lert's. He froze, head turning slowly. Pistol gone. Shadows shifted near the entrance. One figure. Then another. Ronnachai's muscles tensed. He reached slowly toward his holster. Empty. The girl screamed again. High, sharp. More footsteps. Faster now. Boots slapping against the wet floor. They were not alone. He was not done. Ronnachai laid Lert gently on the ground. Whispered, "I will come back." Then turned. He moved low, heart pounding against his ribs. A pipe lay near the wall, rusted but heavy. He grabbed it. A man stepped into the light. Tall, masked, holding a blade still slick with blood. Their eyes met. Ronnachai swung. Metal met flesh. A grunt. A crash. Another attacker rushed in, this one younger, quicker. Ronnachai ducked, the pipe whistling past the man's head. The man kicked him hard in the ribs. He stumbled, fell. Pain exploded in his side. His vision blurred. The attacker raised his knife. It glinted under the flickering light. Ronnachai closed his eyes. But then, A sound, a growl, familiar, ragged, impossible. He looked up and saw Lert, dragging his broken body forward, teeth bared, eyes blazing. The attacker turned too late. Lert lunged, clamped onto the man's arm. Blood sprayed. The man screamed. Ronnachai rose, swung the pipe again. Silence, then breathing. Heavy, desperate. Ronnachai dropped to his knees beside Lert. The dog's body shook with effort. His head rested in his partner's lap. This time there was no wag, only stillness, and the fading warmth of loyalty. Ronnachai pressed both hands against Lert's chest. No rise, no breath. The world blurred around him. His ears rang. He felt hollow, like something had been torn from his very core. But a sound pierced through the numbness. The girl, still sobbing, still trapped. He turned slowly, blood on his face, rainwater dripping from his hair. She sat shivering in the shadows, ropes cut deep into her wrists, eyes wide with terror. Behind her, something shifted, a breath, too loud, too deliberate. Ronnachai's blood ran cold. He grabbed the fallen knife. His fingers slipped on the wet handle. Another man emerged, older, unscarred, and smiling. Ronnachai's grip tightened. The man clapped slowly, mocking, calm. "You were always predictable," he said, voice smooth like oil. "Always chasing ghosts. Even after retirement." Recognition hit, like a punch to the chest. Captain Thanet, his former commander, presumed dead, years ago. "No," Ronnachai whispered, but his gut already knew. "I trained you," Thanet said, stepping closer. "I knew you would come. Knew you would bring the mutt." Ronnachai stepped between him and the girl. The knife trembled in his hand. "Why?" he growled. His voice cracked. His heart cracked more. Thanet's smile widened. "For the files. For the evidence you hid. For the betrayal." Ronnachai's mind raced. Old memories clawed to the surface. Corruption. Cover-ups. The night he walked away. The files he buried. "You took everything from me," Thanet said. "Tonight, I take what is left of you." Lightning flashed outside. For a second, Thanet's face was lit in full. Eyes wild. Mouth twisted with rage. And then he charged. Ronnachai braced. The knife in his hand felt like air. Too light, too small. Their bodies collided. Metal scraped. Skin tore. Blood sprayed the walls. They fell, rolled, grunted, fought, and all the while, Lert's body lay still in the dark. Ronnachai's vision tunneled. The edges darkened. His breath came in gasps. Thanet's hands closed around his throat. The knife had fallen, somewhere in the shadows. Out of reach. The pressure tightened. His spine scraped the concrete. His mind screamed, "Not like this." He clawed at Thanet's arms. Felt old bone. Tendons like wire. Unyielding. The girl screamed again. A wordless, shattered cry. Ronnachai's lungs burned. His heartbeat slowed. Each second stretched into eternity. His hand brushed something cold. Metal. The pipe. He gripped it, lifted it, with all he had left, and brought it down. Once. Twice. 3 times. Thanet's body jerked. The grip loosened. Blood sprayed across Ronnachai's face. The older man collapsed beside him, breathing ragged, smiling still. "You think this ends tonight?" Thanet's voice rasped like gravel. "You have no idea what you uncovered." Ronnachai rolled to his knees, coughing. His throat throbbed. His arms shook. He did not respond. Could not. His eyes locked on the girl. She sat frozen, watching, too afraid to move, too afraid to hope. He crawled to her, cut the ropes with shaking hands. She collapsed into his arms. Her heartbeat thundered against his chest. Warm, alive. "I have you," he whispered, though he barely believed it himself. He looked back at Thanet. The man still smiled. still bled, still whispered something beneath his breath. Ronnachai leaned closer and heard one word. Boom! His stomach dropped. He looked around wildly. Then he saw it. A blinking red light. Near the crates. Behind the girl. A timer. 32 seconds. Ronnachai's heart slammed against his ribs. The digits blinked. 00:31. 00:30. He scooped the girl into his arms. Her breath hitched. What is it? He did not answer. There was no time. He sprinted toward the exit. Each step felt like fire in his legs. Water dripped from the broken ceiling. Footsteps echoed behind him. His own, pounding, desperate. 00:23. The door loomed ahead, splintered, half off its hinges. He barreled through it, into the rain, into the cold. The girl clung to him, sobbing. Mud splashed up their legs. His lungs burned. 00:17. He reached the far wall, threw his body against it. Look back. The warehouse glowed faintly from within. Lightning cracked the sky, illuminating it all. Lert's body, still lying near the crate, still inside. Ronnachai's chest seized. His knees buckled. He nearly dropped the girl. Lert. The word tore out of him, soft, broken. 00:09. He stood frozen, staring through the storm, fighting the urge. He could run. He could live. He could save the girl. But Lert had never run. 00:06. He set the girl down behind the concrete wall. Stay here. Do not move. She grabbed his arm, panicked. Where are you going? He looked into her eyes and whispered, family stays. Then he turned and ran back, straight toward the flames, straight toward the blinking red. 00:03. 00:02. 00:01. 00:00. The explosion shattered the night. A blinding flash. A roar that swallowed everything. Fire burst from the warehouse, like a beast exhaling fury. Wood, steel, and glass tore through the air. The shock wave hit the alley wall. The girl screamed as debris rained down. Flames climbed into the sky. Black smoke curled upward like grasping hands. Silence followed. Thick. Wrong. The girl crawled forward, coughing, eyes stinging, lungs burning. Uncle, she whispered. No answer. She rose to her knees. Ash coated her skin. The warehouse was gone, reduced to a mangled skeleton of fire and ruin. Tears carved tracks down her soot-covered cheeks. She took one shaky step forward, then another. Something moved in the rubble. A groan, low, alive. She froze. Uncle Ronnachai? From the smoke, a figure emerged, stumbling, burned, bloody. It was him, clutching something to his chest. She ran, sobbing, screaming. He collapsed to his knees before her, opened his arms. There, wrapped in his jacket, Lert, burned, barely breathing, but alive. Ronnachai's voice was raw, cracked. I said family stays. The girl fell into him, held Lert. Behind them, the last of the fire raged, but none of them looked back. Rain poured over them, hissing as it struck the smoldering debris. Steam rose from Ronnachai's back. His clothes were torn, skin blistered, but his arms never loosened. Lert whimpered softly, each breath a fragile thread, each blink slower than the last. The girl pressed her face into Ronnachai's shoulder. She was shaking, not from fear, but from something deeper. Safety, relief, the kind that breaks you after storm. But Ronnachai's eyes were locked on the warehouse, or what was left of it. A sound came from within the wreckage, creaking metal, shifting stone. Then a cough, wet, guttural. Ronnachai's jaw clenched. He turned sharply, pushed the girl behind him, clutched Lert tighter. From the fire, a figure crawled, half burned, clothes torn away, face blackened and slick with blood. Thanet, barely alive, but eyes still burning. He dragged himself forward, inch by inch, driven by hate alone. "You think this ends here?" he rasped. His voice slithered through the rain. "You think you saved anything?" Ronnachai stood slowly, shoulders trembling, every muscle screaming. "You lost," he said. "Flat. Final." Thanet coughed, spitting blood, grinned with broken teeth. "You never looked in the crate beneath the girl." Ronnachai froze. His mind spun. He remembered the layout, the shadows, the crate she had been tied to. Thanet laughed, or tried to. It came out as a choke. "You save her body, but not her future." Ronnachai turned, eyes wide. The crate, it was still intact, still closed. He ran, pain forgotten, hope unraveling. And when he pried it open, what he saw made his blood run cold. Inside the crate, a monitor, small, old, flickering, wires coiled around it like veins. And on the screen, a live feed, a room, dimly lit, cement walls, no windows. In the center, a boy, no older than 6, chained to a chair, eyes swollen from crying. Ronnachai's heart dropped. The girl appeared behind him, breath catching in her throat. "Rit," she whispered. Her brother. The screen shifted. A countdown appeared in the corner. 02:59. 02:58. Another timer. Ronnachai turned to Thanet. "Where is he?" His voice was ice. Thanet grinned, blood seeping from his mouth. "You are a good man, Ronnachai, always running to save the next child. But this one, you will not make it in time." Ronnachai grabbed him by the collar, shook him. "Where is he?" Thanet laughed, coughed, then whispered, "The place we buried the truth together." Ronnachai froze. The girl looked between them, confused, terrified. He knew the place. He could see it. A field outside the city. A farmhouse long abandoned, where years ago he had watched justice rot beneath silence. 02:11. He dropped Thanet, grabbed the girl's hand, tucked Lert carefully into his arms. "Hold on," he told her. She nodded, eyes wide, heart racing. They ran through the storm, past the flames, into the night, chasing the clock, chasing the past, and a child they had never met, but could not leave behind. Rain slashed across the windshield. The wipers smeared blood and ash with each swipe. Ronnachai gripped the wheel, knuckles white, eyes locked on the empty road ahead. The girl sat beside him, silent. Lert lay across her lap, wrapped in an old towel. Each breath from the dog came slower, shallower. The screen from the crate now rested on the dash. The feed still live. The boy still crying. 01:36. Time bled out like a wound. Ronnachai's mind raced. Every memory of that farmhouse slammed back. Corrupt officers. Stacks of forged files. One buried body no one ever identified. The place they were ordered to forget. But he had never truly forgotten. The girl turned to him. "Will we make it?" He did not lie. He did not answer. The headlights cut through fog and trees. Then the gravel road. He swerved onto it, tires screaming. The farmhouse loomed, black silhouette, windows shattered, roof sagging. He hit the brakes. Doors flew open. They jumped out into the mud. 00:51. He grabbed Lert, lifted the monitor, held the girl's hand. They ran. Inside, the air was thick with rot. Floorboards groaned. The stench of mold and old secrets clawed at their throats. He remembered the cellar, the hatch under the kitchen floor, hidden by a broken fridge. They reached it. He shoved the fridge aside, lifted the hatch. A dark staircase dropped into nothing. 00:34. He descended first. The girl followed. Her grip trembled in his hand. Lert whimpered. Below, concrete, flickering lights. A steel door. The screen glitched. The boy on the monitor turned his head. Ronnachai stared. It was the same room. He kicked the door. Once. Twice. It groaned but held. 00:22. He saw the keypad. Rusty. Still working. 6 digits. Only one chance. He looked at the girl. What is his birthday? She gasped. 270918. He punched it in. Each beep louder than thunder. 00:12. The lock clicked. The door swung open. And there he was. The boy. Tiny. Pale. Shivering. Chains wrapped around his legs. Eyes wide. Terrified. The bomb sat behind him. Beeping. 00:08. Ronnachai ran forward. Dropped to his knees. Hands moved without thought. Wires. Red. Yellow. Green. 00:05. He breathed in, reached, and chose. His fingers gripped the red wire. Sweat dripped down his forehead, stinging his eyes. The girl screamed behind him, "Please do something." 00:04. 00:03. He closed his eyes. He remembered Lert leaping through smoke. The girl's trembling hands. The boy's helpless eyes. This was not just another mission. This was redemption. This was family. 00:02. He pulled the wire. Silence. A long, impossible silence. Then, nothing. No blast. No flame. Just breathing. 3 hearts pounding. The boy let out a cry. Small and cracked, but alive. Ronnachai exhaled. His body folded forward. Not in defeat, but in relief. The girl rushed in, wrapped her arms around her brother. He clung to her like an anchor, like he had been lost at sea. Lert gave a soft whimper. Ronnachai turned, scooped him gently into his arms. The dog licked his hand, once, then rested his head against his chest. Outside, dawn had begun to break. Faint light bled into the clouds. Smoke curled in the distance. But here, there was calm. They walked out together. Ronnachai carrying Lert, the girl holding her brother, past the broken walls, past the buried lies, into the morning. And for the first time in years, Ronnachai allowed himself to cry, not from pain, not from loss, but from the quiet, shattering truth that sometimes, in saving others, you finally save yourself.